Hey, y'all, this is episode 79 of the Late Night Vision Show. I'm Hans, one half of your show, and we've got a good one for you today. We're going to be talking about a whole list of scopes and these scopes that we think are the best ones under $4,000. But before we get to that, we're going to bring in our co-host, the man that always has a lot to say, but never enough time to say it in, Mr. Jason Robertson. How you doing, bud?
I think that would make you my better half. So that's oh man. Yeah. Well, how are you tonight?
Man, I'm doing good. Hey, one thing I want to do is have all the listeners and all the people out there viewing on YouTube. You know that I've talked about my hunt with Sam from Thermal Feed. Well, he has posted his video of our hunt together. So if y'all get a chance, go on over to YouTube and check out Thermal Feed. It's one word, Thermal Feed. And he posted a good video of our hunt together. We got 22 hogs. He did a good job editing and all that kind of stuff. It's a great video. And you get to see a bunch of hogs get laid down. So I'll be posting my video also later this week on Friday, so y'all can check that out as well.
Hey, y'all, if y'all ever want to know, I mean, some people are probably curious why Hans and I don't have a video together of us laying down 22 hogs. It's because when I come, he takes me to the sorriest places. We have to go out in the driving rain, soak to our underwear, to shoot one hog, and then, walk all the way back to the house. And I can guarantee I wasn't even there. I wasn't invited, but I mean, that's beside the point. I guarantee you that he did not make Sam from Thermal Feed walk in the rain half a mile down there to a corn pile to shoot one hog and go back up there to the house. I guarantee you they rode around in the truck with the heater on, listening to the radio,
Yeah.
but killing 22 hogs.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I made you carry my backpack too also when we were doing that too.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I'm pretty selfish with my hogs here around my place. So we got our buddy Tucker and Matt to take us out, and man, they put us on a bunch of hogs. But y'all go check that out. And Jason and I, we're gonna be hunting together. You and I are gonna be hunting together pretty soon. You've got a bunch of hogs that are down in your woods, and I've already told you. I think I told you last time I talked to you that I guaranteed you that I could get the Convergent Bullet HP caller out and call them hogs out of the woods. So stay tuned to see if that actually happens.
Exactly, and so I do. I've got a couple big groups of hogs right now that are showing up on cameras. They're actually showing up a lot in the daylight. I've tried to get my daughter. She's been deer hunting, trying to get her on those things, and we haven't seen them yet. Well, they've kind of slipped us by a couple times, but anyway, a couple big groups, 15 plus per group, and a lot of hogs. And I can just tell that Hans is just sitting over there like, what a bunch of amateurs. What a bunch. Y'all can't, I mean, I can just feel it, when I tell him, man, we didn't see him again. We didn't get him. They got the slip on us. And I know he's sitting over there thinking, gosh, I come down there and kill all of them.
I just thinking, man, just go down there and get them. I mean, what are you waiting on? Just go get them, But I understand.
Yeah.
Hey, thank y'all for joining us this week on another episode of the Late Night Vision Show, episode 79. We're going to be talking about, and you probably saw the title of the podcast, best art. This is Jason and I's best choices for thermal scopes under $4,000, and we've really broken it out into three categories that we're going to give our favorites and our choices. But that's going to be for all you coyote hunters and long distance range, thermal shooters out there that are shooting regularly at 125, 150 yards and over at coyotes. Anywhere around the Midwest or up north, Jason, you and I get calls all day, every day from coyote hunters all over the country that are regularly wanting to take longer shots.
Yeah,
so we got that.
Yeah, and I just want to say this. Hans says it's under 4,000, and that's true. But in fairness, it's really 3,000 to 4,000. But that doesn't fit in a snazzy title as well. But there's really not much below that 2,000. We'll probably talk about that in another episode, just a couple scopes, and that's not fair to compare. Something way down there. So we're going to really say it's between 3,000 and 4,000. And so on this coyote hunters, I'm going to let him get into that in a second. But I wanted to say that. I'm going to say that these scopes are going to be for the guys that are not just wanting to shoot 125. That may be normal, but there's going to be, in my mind, some shots out there at that 225, 250 on a more regular basis, because we're definitely going to be trending this to a longer range.
Right. So we got our scope for choice for that particular segment of people, the coyote hunters, long range thermal hunters. The second one is for all you southern hog hunters out there, which Jason and I are all about that, and we've got our favorites in this category as well. And then we're going to do our overall pick for our favorite scope under $4,000. And like Jason said, the prices are going to range from $3,000 to $4,000. Under $3,000, there's not a lot of choices until you step down into the Core RXQ 30V at $1,900 or the PTS 233 at $2,200. So
and we'll probably revisit that. We've done a review on those too, but we've had a lot of people just asking for an update. We may do just something on those later on. But one quick thing I want to say. We do not know what the other person is going to choose. No. We have not talked about, we didn't give our choices. We've listed the scopes out, and I'm going to go so far as to tell you that I haven't made my mind up yet. I started looking at these. I was like, I haven't made my choices. And he's like, all right, you ready to hit record? Let's go. And I'm like, oh, man, I really don't know yet. So
when we were doing our pre-show outline, I tried to tell Jason, he's like, no, don't tell me. So he made me keep it a secret. I'm not good at keeping secrets like that. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to run down our list of choices in the category. So why don't you run them down, tell them what we're going to be choosing from today, and then we'll start talking about these individually.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell y'all, folks, if you're watching on YouTube and you see me looking down a lot, it's literally because I'm trying to decide what my picks are going to be for these. All right, so we're going to start here. Least expensive and work our way up. You have the Pulsar, and this is going to be heavy Pulsar. We can't help it. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. You got the Pulsar Trail XM38. It is a 2.1 power, and it is $32.99.
Hang on, XQ38. I think you said XM38, but that's all right.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at my list here. Pulsar Trail XQ38, 2.1 power. And $32.99. The Pulsar Thermion XM38, it is a 4 power, and it is also $32.99. We've got the Pulsar Trail XQ50. It is a 2.7 power, and it is $37.99. We've got the Pulsar Trail XQ38 Laser Rangefinder, or LRF. Edition. Again, it is the same 2.1 power. It just has that LRF permanently attached to the side. It is $37.99. Well, we have the FLIR. The lone outlier here is the FLIR Thermosight Pro PTS 536. It is a 4 power, and it's $37.95. And then last on the list, we've got the Pulsar Thermion XM50, coming in at our highest magnification of 5.5 power, and it is $37.99. Now, I want to make one quick comment here. Two quick comments. One,
the man that too much to say and not enough time to say anything.
Exactly, but there's just things I think are important. And now you've already made me forget like one of these points. One thing I'm going to say, this is 1st of November, the first week of November 2019. I will tell you that somebody's going to be listening to this thing in 2020, and some of these scopes may not be available. The Pulsar Trails, we don't know how long they're going to be around. They're probably and I don't want to go down this whole road, but what it's looking like is the regular trails are probably going to be going away by December or January. It's possible they could stretch into the new year. Not looking that way right now. The laser rangefinder trails will be sticking around, from what we've been told. From all our knowledge, the PTS 536 will still be around unless something changes, and the Pulsar Thermions all should be because they're brand new scopes. So we don't know any reason that they would be going away. And if you're wondering, this is my second thing. So if you're wondering why there are no other brands, anything on here, basically it comes down to the only other brand that we would really consider right now in here that is a tried and true market tested scope. We don't think there is any. The ATN obviously has some scopes. We personally don't recommend ATN for a lot of reasons we've got into in other episodes. So that's why those aren't included in here, because these are scopes that we would actually choose and use and recommend. So that's why these are on here. There may be some other scopes in this price range that you think are great, and that is perfectly fine. These are our choices.
Yeah, and these are scopes that you and I have personally used out in the field.
Every single one of these.
Every single one of them, we've used them, we've tested them, and tested the application. So,
yep.
I'm just pausing to see if there was a third point you were going to.
No, there's no. I could come up with one, but no.
Yeah.
No. All right, so you better go on before I come up with something.
So, the first category, we're going to do mine and Jason's favorite pick for the best coyote thermal, long-range thermal unit of the 6 choices. And for me, this was the toughest category because there are 2 scopes on here that I really like a lot. So what I narrowed it down to was the Pulsar Thermion XM38 at 4 power magnification and the FLIR PTS 536 also at 4 power magnification. Now, I actually had a conversation with a gentleman about these 2 scopes today, that wanting to know the differences and which one I preferred. So I really like both of these scopes, and this was tough. This was a tough choice.
I can't wait. I have no idea. I can't wait.
So the Pulsar Thermion XM38, the new line of the thermals that came out here, after the first year into the spring. The advantages, I think, obviously for the Thermion, the Pulsar Thermion, the rechargeable battery packs. I use the picture-in-picture a lot. That option that FLIR does not have for coyote hunting, where you can bring up the small box in the top of the screen and magnify that in closer and leave your large screen field of view up. That's something I use a lot. And also, with the video recording, you have audio with that, which you don't have with the FLIR. You've got the app. The advantage, I think, with the FLIR PTS 536, it has a great image. Now, these are both 320 by 240 thermal resolution scopes at 12 microns, so those specs are exactly the same. The FLIR has around a 50 millimeter objective lens. It's got a big old objective lens on it, and it produces a very good, crisp picture. So what it came down to me, and I'm going to tell you what I chose. I chose the Thermion XM38, and the reason why I chose it is because of the picture-in-picture display that I use all the time, especially for coyote hunting. It does have the 4-power magnification, which is the same as the FLIR. I believe it's got a wider field of view on it too, also, doesn't it, Jason?
The XM38 has a 30-foot wide horizontal field of view at 100 yards, and the FLIR 536 has a 24-foot wide horizontal field of view at 100. So 24-foot versus 30 is a lot.
It's a lot. It's
about 25% probably.
It's got a wider field of view, which is going to help you if you take that first shot and those coyotes start running. Not to forget to mention that the Pulsar Thermion XM38 is also around $500 less expensive. So you're getting a lot of value. You're getting a great scope. You're getting a very good image, and you're getting all the bells and whistles that I like and that I use on a regular basis. So with that, for my choice for best coyote hunting, long-range thermal scope, it's going to be the Pulsar Thermion XM38, but it barely beat out the PTS 536 from FLIR. Like I said, this was the toughest one. I love both of the scopes.
Well, yeah, I was really thinking. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I really thought he was gonna choose the 536. I'm gonna tell you the reason that I believed that is because he made a personal request to me to send him a 536 to use as basically a backup scope and get some video from. And I shipped him a 536 today to use as kind of a backup scope to his Thermion XP50. So I just knew he was going 536.
Man, that's a good friend.
Yeah.
Sending that scope out. Man, like I said, it was a tough choice. Yeah. I love the 536. It gets great video, especially at close range, shooting hogs at 50 yards. The detail that you see is really, really good. But, for coyote hunting, long-range hunting, and with all the bells and whistles, that Thermion XM30 is a great deal, especially $500
XM38.
XM38, especially at $500 less expensive.
Well, this is going to be pretty boring because I'm going to probably concur, but I'm going to say one thing about the 536, and that is this. If you don't care about the bells and whistles, and when I say bells and whistles, I mean removable rechargeable battery packs, the picture-in-picture, the audio on the video recording, smartphone app. If you don't care about any of that and you are solely image quality, if you're the guy who says, all I want is the best image quality I can get, and recording video is great, I would buy the 536.
And I had a guy today that said, I prefer the FLIR because I don't like the proprietary batteries that are included with the Pulsar. So there's a lot of people out there that just want to use regular batteries.
Yeah, and so if that was the choice, if that was me, which I get those guys on the phone a lot, I'd choose the 536. But just like Hans, I'm going to beat this same dead horse and say the same thing. The XM38, I personally like all those things. Battery packs, audio on the video recording, picture-in-picture, and the big deal for me I know, but gosh, I'm thinking about me using it and not long range, but it's that wider field of view. 30 foot versus 24 is a lot at 100 yards. And so I do like the wider field of view. And like you said, it's $500 cheaper. My choice personally would be the XM38. That would be because I want the bells and whistles, but it's 536 does beat it slightly on image quality. And I would definitely say if bells and whistles don't matter, you should go with the 536.
I agree. And like I said, we're not, just going to be Pulsar homers. It barely beat the 530.
I didn't think he was going to choose it. I was blown away, and it really kind of took the wind out of my sails.
I've got to step outside the box and think about the people that are calling in for it, though, or that are asking about it. Because that makes, on paper, the Thermion XM38 makes the most sense if you're looking for those things.
It does. Now, I'm going to just say one quick thing before we move on and say we didn't mention the other obvious long range, and that is the XM50 that is 5.5 power. FYI, it has a 23-foot field of view at 100 yards, so that's interesting that you're getting within 1 foot. You're getting the same field of view at 5.5 power as you are on the 536. Personally, if you're really shooting long range, then I think that's the obvious choice. But when I say long range there, you better be taking a bunch of shots at 300 yards.
Right.
It's a lot of magnification. You don't want to be shooting a lot at 150 yards with the XM50.
With coyote hunting, it's hard to know. You may regularly take shots at 150 yards. But occasionally you get those coyotes, the dumb ones, so to say, and they run, 50 yards away. And that 5.5 power scope will blows out that.
You can shoot them in the eyeball.
It's a good scope. But I'm still recommending that XM38.
Absolutely. And I would choose the 536 before I chose the XM50. Just the magnification's too much for me. Right. All right. So now we're going to move along here. We're going to move to the we're calling this the Southern Hog Hunters, and I guess there may be somewhere.
Give us a definition for that.
Yeah, it's south of the Mason-Dixon line. And
okay. So they're not driving around in the General Lee, with the Dukes of Hazzard thing.
Well, that's another requirement, but no. So that's awesome. I would say that. Yeah, and you know what, our Oklahoma brethren, we'll let you in on this here on this Southern Hog. I think I want to define this. This is going to be guys that are going to be taking most of your shots. I would say under 150 yards. I would say the trending, because we're just going to pick a medium here. Because I know there's some guys say, well, all my shots are going to be under 50 yards. Well, I would say the average person that I talk to on the phone, the hunting hogs in the South, is going to tell me they're shooting between 50 and 150 yards, and a lot around 100. And yes, they may have that outlier at 200 yards, but that's going to be the rarity. And, we're going to call it 50 to 150 with again, the medium or the median there at around 100. With that said, I do not know what my choice is going to be. And so I want to give what's left over here in our list. So there's 3 scopes left. It's the Trail XQ38, it's the Trail XQ50, and it's the Trail XQ38 laser rangefinder.
And you can choose one we've already talked about if that's
Yeah,
your choice.
well, yeah, I mean, I could choose the XM38, but I believe that the 4-power is too much magnification for those normal ranges, in my opinion. If you're going to have a lot of shots under 100 yards, you do not want 4-power. Unless you just really, really like high magnification and don't care about field of view. So for my opinion, I think those others are ruled out. It's going to be between these. I think that probably the best all around. Gosh, this is tough. I don't like this. Okay. I think if you're going to shoot much over 100 yards very often, it seems like the XQ50 at 2.7 power is pretty nice because it does allow you to take those longer shots if you need to. It does allow you to go out there and use it coyote hunting if you want to. I know that's not what we're talking about, but I mean,
it really sounds like you're trying to work this out in your mind as we go along.
I told you before we started this, I don't know. I still haven't chosen the XQ50 yet. I'm just giving the positive things about it. I think you can absolutely hunt at 30 yards with it, but you can absolutely hunt at 200. I think for 50 to 150, it's a really good choice. I would have to say, if money's not an object, the extra $500 doesn't bother you. I don't know. I guess the XQ50, it's so tough. The XQ38 is the number one selling rifle scope in this price range because of $32.99, 2.1 power. But I think you know what? I'm gonna change my mind midstream. Here's what it is. If money is not an object, and I say not an object, meaning $500 isn't gonna make or break you, I would choose the XQ38 with the LRF.
Wow. That's out of left field.
Well, here's why. Because it's the same price as the XQ50, identical price, and you do have the benefit of the laser rangefinder. And if you're hunting on your own property, or you're a lease or wherever, somewhere that you're used to looking all the time, then you can go out there in the daylight. You can see how far everything is. You can get an idea, especially if you're not talking about big cropland. So I would say you probably don't need the LRF. But if you are hunting a lot on, going out with friends, going to other people's places, really big fields, that LRF could come in handy. I don't use one. Hans doesn't use one because we're hunting a lot of places that we know. We've been to a bunch and, our own properties. But every time I go with somebody else, I wish that I had one because I've never been on their place and it's black dark and we can see 500 yards and they don't know how far things are on their place. And so we do a lot of guessing. So I really think if the $500 doesn't bother you, the XQ38 LRF is a great choice. But I'm not.
All right, that's your choice. That's your choice.
I'm gonna go with it. But you could talk me into any of these other two really, really easy.
So first of all, I'm gonna say that's a surprise. I never would have thought that. Never,
Guess what? I wouldn't have thought it about 30 seconds ago, and I'm already second guessing myself.
It is. You're right though. It is a good deal for $500 extra. You're getting the LRF, the rangefinder, which, as you know, if you get it with the XP50, it's an additional $1,000.
Well, so okay, and I'm gonna say one reason I'm justifying this in my mind. If I really do like the XQ38, we sell more XQ38s than anything else in the trail line, and if you're gonna buy the XQ38, and I said if money doesn't matter, you're getting the same identical scope, and you're getting the laser rangefinder on the side for $500. So that's why I'm choosing it, because I'm saying, you got an extra $500 burning a hole in your pocket.
Don't start pigeonholing me now. So you chose the LRF, so we're going to go.
I know
with
what you're going to choose.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say if you want a trail, you need to go to Outdoor Legacy Gear right now and order one because, like Jason said, we don't know how much longer they're going to be around, but they are great scopes. They still sell very well. And I'm going to talk about my favorite Hog Hunters scope that I choose, and driving around on county roads, hanging that rifle out of a General Lee, shooting hogs from the county road. All of my buddies. No, I'm joking. We don't do that. Somewhat, no.
The general load.
So we, what I'm gonna, all my buddy, and we got a lot of people that call and ask, what do you suggest? What have you hunted with? What have you hunted with? I think you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the Pulsar Trail XQ38
Yep.
at 2.1 magnification. The majority of the shots that are being taken, especially around our area, East Texas, heavy woods, is going to be around 50 yards, 75 yards and under. Sometimes you get 100 yards. But again, with the picture-in-picture display, it does give you a little bit of a crutch to be able to take those longer shots. But that's, all of my buddies, just about all of my buddies that I hunt with, use the Trail XQ38. They love it. I used it for a long time. I loved it when I had it. And for $32.99, it's a great deal. It's got all the bells and whistles that we've talked about, rechargeable batteries, internal video recording, all that fancy stuff. But it's got the lowest of all the magnifications that we've talked about. And that, besides the LRF, which we know Jason's already talked about. So that's going to be my choice. It's going to be that Trail XQ38. I think your choice is a very smart choice, and I think it is a good choice. There have been times where it would have been nice to know the exact yardage of what we're looking at, or some type of object, so we can get a good distance, judge the distance when something's running in. But my favorite choice, the ones that all my buddies hunt with, that I go hunt with, they're hunting with the Pulsar Trail XQ38. And the main reason is because it's a 2.1 power. It's the lowest magnification of all the scopes that we're talking about tonight. So, but I'm glad you said something different because,
yeah, I agree with you. We sell a whole bunch of them. We sell a bunch. And I want to say one thing here, since we're just talking about them. XQ50 versus the XQ38. A lot of people say, well, the difference in 2.1 and 2.7 is not much. And it's not. A lot of the guys that go with the XQ50 are either guys who are going to be doing some coyote hunting or going to shoot a little bit longer range, or a lot of times older guys tell me, man, I want a little more magnification. So they bump up to that. But where it does pay in dividends is when you just use picture in picture, or you zoom up your whole screen just one time, just 2 times your base mag. So 2.1 turns into 4.2, but 2.7 turns into 5.4. But I know y'all are pretty good at multiplication out there, but I'm making a point. But 2.1 and 2.7 are not far apart. But 4.2 and 5.4, there's a big difference. There's a lot of gain there. So I do think that's a really good scope for the guys who are going to, probably, up the middle of the road. But now that's going to lead into the next one. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I'm still making up my mind.
So our last category that we're going to be judging for our favorite thermal scope under $4,000 or between $3,000 and $4,000. This is our overall choice. So this is our experience.
I'm glad you're going first.
Our experience with hunting with all these scopes, with talking with people all over the country, and what we feel like is the best scope for all applications. So I'm going to go out and say my choice for best all-around thermal under $4,000 is going to be the Pulsar Trail XQ50. And here's the reason why. I had a conversation with a gentleman that is a coyote hunter from Maryland, but goes down south to Florida regularly to shoot hogs. So I think at 2.7 magnification, you still get the benefit of having something that's a little bit higher magnification, maybe not as much as the XM38 at 4 power, but you still get enough magnification out there to coyote hunt with. And I'm going to tell you right now, that Pulsar Trail XQ50 is one of the favorites for coyote hunters across the country. They call up and say, I know what I want. I want the XQ50. That's what everybody I know is hunting with up here. And so they know that they want that when they call up. So it is a coyote hunter favorite. But you can take that scope down to Texas, like Jason said, and shoot hogs at 50 yards and be just fine. So I'm going to say my favorite choice, best thermal under $4,000 for their overall applications, is going to be the Pulsar Trail XQ50. Jason, what say you?
Ditto. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. We'll see y'all next week.
Signing off.
No, I agree, and I was sitting here. I was making that case about the XQ50 versus the XQ38, and I was looking and going, overall, I got to choose something here that is going to work for the coyote hunter. It's going to work for the hog hunter, and it's going to work for the guy who's doing both. And that is it. That 2.7 power you can absolutely use that and hunt hogs at 30 yards. You can do it. I mean, there's no, it's more than I personally want or need, but you can do it and not have an issue. You've still got that good, 38-foot field of view at 100 yards, no problem there. And then when you bump that thing up, but think about this: before the 536 came out and before the XM38 came out, the Trail Xq 50 was it. I mean, that's what coyote hunters were buying because they didn't have these 4-power scopes to choose from. And so, coyote hunters have been using it for a long time. So, yeah, I choose the XQ 50 as well as the best overall all-around scope. And, folks, I know that I've been a little bit off my game here. I normally like to have my stuff already chose out. I was on the tractor until about 30 minutes before we started this show. I knew what the show was over, but I really wasn't thinking about it. I was too busy to think of my picks. But so that's my excuse tonight. But, yeah, I think the XQ50 is definitely going to be the best overall. But I'll tell you this, and this is going to sound like a sales pitch. And I really don't believe there's a bad scope on here. We already said that from the beginning. These are all scopes that we would use. The one scope that I would really warn people about, if somebody just called me up today and said, "Hey, I want to buy a Thermion XM50," while I do like it and I think for long range it's good, I just think you need to be sure you're really shooting a lot of long range to buy that scope. I think though that the 536 and the XM38, and I'm just kind of going back over this, man, those are just super, super scopes. And then any of the rest of these for your hog hunters will be good. But yep, XQ50 all around best scope. And folks, I'm serious about this. We don't know, what the current word on the street directly from Pulsar is that there is a few more shipments of trails coming in, and then that's it. Yep. And that they are not orderable. We cannot order anymore. They have the ordering closed way back in the spring after SHOT Show. So the scopes that we're getting now, we ordered 6 to 8, 9 months ago. And yeah, I guess at least that long ago. And so what we're getting is what we're getting, and then they're going to be gone. And also, I want to make this clear. What they're telling us now, and I always give these caveats because something's going to change in 15 minutes and I'll look like a moron, but I'm just getting the word straight from them as of last week. The laser rangefinder models will be produced through 2020. There will not be a Thermion laser rangefinder announced at SHOT Show. Don't quote me on it, but no, that's what I'm quoting what I was told. So for whatever that's worth, if you want one of these trails, you better get them. If not, you are going to be pushed into the higher magnification scopes unless you up your budget or go way down in your budget, one of the two. But right now in this middle range, you've still got some good choices.
Well, y'all have heard it. And Jason, you don't have to apologize for not being chit-chatty tonight because, every time I sit back and listen to these old podcasts, I'm always thinking, more me. But the last few weeks or last couple of weeks, I've had more me. So it's been
me.
So y'all have heard it, folks. Those are our choices for the best thermal scopes under 4,000. Between 3,000 and 4,000, and that's for all you long-range thermal hunters, you southern hog hunters, and the overall choice. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out to us. You can comment to the video on YouTube. You can contact us through email at thelatenightvisionshow@gmail.com. Please go subscribe to us on YouTube if you aren't already, the Late Night Vision Show on YouTube, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on YouTube at HansETX, and please subscribe. Got another video coming out on Friday, as well as on Instagram. Don't do Facebook, but you can find me on Instagram. And please, to stay up to date on all the episodes, go visit our fancy, I'm not going to say brand new because it's been out a while, but our website, thelatenightVisionShow.com. It's a great website. Looks great. And thank you to Jason's buddy that put it together for
Absolutely.
us.
So yeah, and folks, listen, we appreciate y'all coming back every week. If you're interested in a thermal rifle scope or a night vision of some sort, feel free to check us out, outdoorlegacygear.com. You can give us a call, 877-350-1818. We're absolutely glad to take the time to walk you through all these scopes or any other scopes out there and see what fits you. I want to say this, we've got a bunch of scopes here, and we just kind of assumed people know about them, and we jumped in on what we like and what we don't. There are scopes on here that maybe we didn't choose, or maybe it wasn't our favorite choice, that would absolutely be the scope that you need. And so let us help you, because we have used every single one of these in the field, and we can definitely make suggestions based on exactly what your needs and wants are based on your hunting conditions. So call us, and we're glad to help you do that. If you want to support this show, if you enjoy the podcast, you want to hear more, please come check us out at outdoorlegacygear.com and buy your thermal scopes from us. We would really appreciate it. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, as always. And again, we really do appreciate y'all coming back. We know a lot of y'all tune in every single week. You leave us nice comments. You subscribe, gives us thumbs up, all that. We appreciate it, because a lot of times Hans and I are in here recording these podcasts. Our wife and kids are back home, and we're wondering if anybody is listening to these things, or if it's just me and him talking, looking at a video camera. But so we do. We appreciate y'all. Hope you come back next week. We've got a little bit of news we'll be talking about. I've got some updates on a few different things related to some of these scopes, as well as some of the Sightmark Wraith info. But you got to tune in next week for that. We will be back live next Thursday. Thanks, folks, for tuning in. Thanks, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a great week. Stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.